The coffee had gone cold an hour ago, but Marcus Chen hadn't noticed. His hands trembled as they gripped the ceramic mug, knuckles white against the pale porcelain. Around him, the cafe buzzed with life, couples laughing over shared desserts, students bent over laptops, baristas calling out orders. But Marcus existed in a vacuum of silence, drowning in thoughts no amount of success could silence. 53 years old, worth over $200 million, and he had never felt more alone. The divorce papers sat in his briefcase. His daughter hadn't returned his calls in 6 months, and this morning, his doctor had used words like stress-induced and warning signs that made his chest tighten with fear he couldn't afford to acknowledge. He was the CEO who had everything and somehow nothing at all. Marcus had chosen this small cafe in Brooklyn deliberately, far from the glass towers of Manhattan, where everyone knew his face from business magazines. Here, he could be invisible. Here, he could fall apart without an audience. He stared at his reflection in the window, seeing a stranger in an expensive suit with hollow eyes. When had he become this person? When had ambition calcified into isolation? "Are you okay, sir?" The voice was small, uncertain, but it cut through his thoughts like a bell. Marcus looked down to find a little girl standing beside his table, maybe 7 or 8 years old, with thick glasses slightly, crooked on her nose and a backpack, covered in rainbow patches. Her brown eyes held something he hadn't seen directed at him in years. Genuine concern. "I'm fine, sweetheart," Marcus managed, his CEO voice automatic even now. "Thank you for asking." The girl didn't move. She tilted her head, studying him with the brutal honesty only children possess. "You don't look fine. You look like my mama did when Grandpa died, sad in the deep-down places." The word struck him like a physical blow. Marcus felt his carefully constructed walls crack. "I'm just having a difficult day," he admitted, surprised by his own honesty. "Can I sit?" She didn't wait for an answer, climbing into the chair across from him with the confidence of someone who had never learned that strangers were dangerous. "My name is Lily. My mama says when people are sad, you should sit with them so they know they're not invisible. Your mother sounds wise." Marcus glanced around, looking for an anxious parent. "Where is she?" "Over there." Lily pointed to a woman in scrubs at the counter ordering coffee. She looked exhausted, the kind of bone-deep tired that came from too many double shifts. "She's a nurse. She helps people who are sick, but she says sometimes people are sick in their hearts, not just their bodies." Marcus studied the girl, this tiny philosopher in sneakers. "And you think I'm sick in my heart?" "I think everybody is a little bit." Lily swung her legs, which didn't quite reach the floor. "Mama says that's why we have to be kind, because everyone's fighting battles we can't see." She paused, then reached into her backpack. "Want to see something cool?" Before he could respond, she pulled out a small notebook, pages worn and filled with crayon drawings. "I collect happy things," she explained. "See, this is Mr. Rodriguez from our building. He gave me a flower from his garden. This is the lady at the library who always remembers my name. This is the bus driver who waits when Mama's running late." Page after page of simple sketches, each one a tiny testimony to kindness noticed and remembered. Marcus felt something shift in his chest as this child showed him a catalog of humanity he'd forgotten existed. "Why do you draw these?" he asked. Lily looked at him as if the answer were obvious. "So I don't forget that people are good. Mama says it's easy to forget when you're sad or scared. She says we have to remind ourselves." She peered at him seriously. "Are you scared?" The question landed with unexpected weight. Was he scared? Of dying? Of being alone? Of having built an empire but lost his soul in the process? "Yes," Marcus whispered. "I think I am." "That's okay," Lily said matter-of-factly. "Brave people get scared too. That's what makes them brave." She tore a blank page from her notebook and pushed it across the table with a purple crayon. "Draw something that makes you happy." "Even if it's small." Marcus stared at the paper. When was the last time he'd done something so purposeless, so utterly without strategy or return on investment? His hand felt clumsy as he picked up the crayon, and for a long moment he didn't know what to draw. Then, slowly, an image emerged. A small house, a kitchen table. A little girl who looked remarkably like his daughter had at 6 years old, before he'd chosen board meetings over bedtime stories, before later became never. "That's pretty," Lily said. Who is she? Someone I miss very much. Marcus's voice cracked. Someone I haven't been very good to. You could call her, Lily suggested with devastating simplicity. Mama says sorry is a magic word, but only if you mean it. Before Marcus could respond, Lily's mother appeared. Coffee in hand, an apology on her lips. Lily Marie, you cannot just sit down with strangers. I am so sorry, sir. Don't apologize, Marcus said quickly, standing. Your daughter has been wonderful. Company. He looked down at Lily. Thank you for sitting with me. You're welcome, Lily beamed. Remember, draw happy things. It helps. As they turned to leave, Marcus heard himself say, Wait. He pulled out his wallet, but then stopped, realizing money was the wrong currency for this moment. Instead, he took out his business card and wrote on the back, This is my personal number. If you ever need anything, medical bills, school supplies, anything, please call me. Lily's mother looked at the card, then at him, recognition dawning. You're Marcus Chen, the Marcus Chen. Just Marcus, he said. And I'm serious about the offer. Your daughter taught me something important today. Let me pay that forward. The woman's eyes filled with tears. We're okay, but thank you. Really, she paused. My daughter has a gift for finding people who need her. I think you needed her today. I did, Marcus agreed. More than you know. He watched them leave, this tired nurse and her wise little girl, and felt something fundamental shift inside him. The cafe no longer felt suffocating. The world beyond the window no longer looked quite so gray. Marcus pulled out his phone. His hands still shook, but now with purpose rather than despair. He scrolled to his daughter's number. How many times had he hovered over it without pressing call? And this time he didn't hesitate. Julia, it's Dad. I know I don't deserve your time, but I'm hoping you'll give me 5 minutes. I want to apologize. Really apologize, not the kind where I make excuses. And I want to tell you about a little girl I met today who reminded me what matters. As he talked, Marcus looked at the purple crayon drawing still on the table. Tomorrow, he would put it in his office, right where he could see it. A reminder that success meant nothing if you achieved it alone. That vulnerability wasn't weakness. That sometimes the greatest wisdom came from the smallest voices. And he would remember Lily's words. Everyone's fighting battles we can't see, so we have to be kind. In a cafe in Brooklyn, on an ordinary Saturday, a lonely CEO learned that being seen, really seen, was the first step back to being human. And it started with one question from a child who cared enough to ask, Are you okay, sir? Sometimes that's all it takes to save someone. Sometimes kindness is the most powerful force in the world.